Chris Bale, son of Bruce and Linda Bale. Dave Bossum, son of Mr. and Mrs. Robert Bossum. John Brown, son of Stephen and Sandra Brown. Rick Brubaker, son of Richard and Andrea Brubaker. Creston Davis, son of Sandy and Priscilla Davis. Matt Evelyn, son of Mr. and Mrs. Charles Evelyn. Steve Elliker, son of Mr. and Mrs. Robert Elliker. Troy Funkhauser, son of Mrs. Glenda Funkhauser. Eric Gallagher, son of Bob and Tina Gallagher. Joe Guyman, son of Dean and Linda Guyman. Ted Griffith, son of Mr. and Mrs. or Theodore Griffith. Rick Harbaugh, son of Robert and Darlene Harbaugh. Ken Hartlob, son of Ken and Linda Hartlob. Gabe Lawrence, son of Don and Kay Lawrence. Tony Meckley, son of Tony and Beth Meckley. Chad Mickley, son of Mr. and Mrs. Larry Mickley. Matt Miller, son of Raymond and Rosalie Miller. Travis Motter, son of Mr. and Mrs. Richard Motter. Chris Robinstein, son of Dennis and Karen Robinstein. Scott Robinstein, son of Darrell and Sheila Robinstein. Brad Rinker, son of Dr. James and Ann Rinker. Sadler, son of Glenn and Nancy Sadler. Aaron Sawyard, son of Barry and Karen Sawyard. We sincerely appreciate the endless amount of time, devotion, and understanding that you have given to your sons and daughters so that they may participate in athletics in the Southwestern School District. For these parents and their sons and daughters, we wish to say good luck. Thank you for all that you have given to our community and to this high school. Ladies and gentlemen, let us please give a big round of applause to our parents and athletes for the fall season of 1988. And now, non-competing senior athletes accompany their parents to their respective seats and areas in the grandstand. Thank you very much.
Yeah, right.
I'm a $5 person. I don't want to break the road. So give me one now and a little later give me another. Later give me another. Where's your name go? Our son. Don from Joe and Chad.
Sitting there.
attention up here, please. I'd appreciate it. The reason you couldn't hear me before was that I couldn't read off and on. It was not on. We welcome you to the annual football team social, sponsored by the parents of the Mustang football team. This afternoon, when we were decorating and getting ready for tonight, Mr. Kwasniak was here giving us some advice and answering all our questions. And we were talking, he was telling us about the history of this event. And so I don't get any details mixed up. I'd like to have him come up here right now and explain to you how this special event came about.
I think these guys over here probably could tell it better than I. Back in 1975, when I had the good fortune to come to Southwestern, we were in one of our original staff meetings, probably one of the first or second one in April of 75, and we were discussing the type of things that we felt that we had to do in order to improve and expand the program for football at Southwestern. And one of the ideas that came upon the table was we have to do something to open communication with the parents, to enhance parent support for the football program, and once we turn that corner, everything else is sort of going to fall into place. And one of the ideas that we came up with was periodically during the season to meet with parents, to give them an opportunity to speak with us, to give us their feelings, and we watch game films and so on. And that is where this all started. The second year of game films, towards the last couple of game films that we were showing, a group of mothers stayed after, and they said, gee, this is the next to the last time we're meeting this year. Our sons are seniors. It's really a shame that, we'd like to keep coming back. We'd like to do something special. We'd like to hold a little informal covered dish. And that was 13 years ago. And that informal covered dish with some baked macaroni and a few hot dogs and so on, and probably a group of maybe 35 or 40 people got together at the end of the season. I'd say we've come a long way. And I look at the success that the football program has had over the last 14, 15 years, and the big difference is exactly what is here tonight. Strong, dedicated parent support, supporting the men and the young ladies that are part of the program and making the program what it is. This is what we were after 14, 15 years ago, and this is what we have tonight. It does my heart good to see the great crowd here tonight, and the program remains extremely strong and getting stronger all the time with excellent coaching leadership, tremendous parent support, and we can't forget that most important element, and that is those fine players we put on the field. It's great to be here tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to share that information.
Up until this year, this function was done totally by the senior mothers, and the rest of us who were asked to get involved this year would like to thank our co-captains' parents, Linda Diamond and Shaq Nickley, for inviting all of us to get involved so that it isn't just senior mothers or even senior parents. Everyone was invited to be involved in it. And we thank you, ladies, very much for setting that precedent. We're glad to have you here to honor our football team. The attractive program that you have in front of you was designed by a couple of our players. And I'd like those two fellows to stand up and take a bow. Rick Harbaugh and Troy Funkhauser. The special guests, which I will introduce in a few moments, received a nice invitation that was that they printed, that Mr. Gilpin and the graphic arts students printed using the same logo. And inside of these is lovely lettering done graciously by Jenny Hawkins-Smith. Jenny, thank you. one typographical error, at least the only one we've discovered, and that is the inside of your cover, or your program. The sophomore players, somehow we ended up with two numbers 48, and I think that Larry Simpson's number is 43. Is that correct, Larry? Okay, good. Thank you. So just note that correction. At this time, I would like to introduce the special guests that you see listed on the back of your program. And with those special guests, please stand up when I call your name. Representing the administration tonight is Dr. Michael Clemens, our assistant superintendent, his wife Sue, and his children, Josh and Amanda. Would you all stand, please? I don't think any of them would mind if you hold your applause until the end, and then you can clap for everybody at once. Mr. John Carley, our high school principal, and his wife Betty. Mr. Brad Arnold, one of our assistant principals, his wife Vicki, and his daughter Becky. Mr. John Floshock, another assistant principal and athletic director. And our Mustang announcer is here this evening, Mr. Carol Granger. Dr. Withers and Mr. Zimmerman could not be here, but I must introduce the team's orthopedic consultant, Dr. Granger. Like you to meet the coaching staff. I mean, you know the coaching staff, but meet their families officially. Our head coach, Don Seidenstricker, and his wife and new mother-to-be, Jody. The defensive coordinator, Bob Clemens, and his wife, Miss Susan. The offensive coordinator, Don Brady, and his wife Sharon, and their children, Aaron, Shannon, and Katie. The offensive and defensive analyst, Chuck Seidenstricker, and his wife Diane. We're happy to have all of you here with us. I'd also like you to note on the back of your program the list of people who made such generous donations to this special event. Without these kind people, many, many things tonight would not be possible. We thank you all very, very much. At this time, I'd like to call on head coach Don Seidenstricker to give the invitation.
Let us pray, please. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for the provisions set before us this evening. We ask that you look upon us with favor as we share fellowship and gain sustenance. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I believe we're going to begin. And what we'd like you to do, we're going to alternate tables, beginning with this one. And we're going to go from that table to this far table, and back here, and back there, and back here, and back there. And that way you can't say, well, we're starting at one end and you're going the other way, so we're kind of stepping out of character. What we're going to do is go out this door and down the hallway and come in the end door down there and go through the serving line back to our table. Okay?
Does everyone have a pink ticket? A pink ticket that Mrs. Brubaker was giving you as you came in. Okay? All right, if you don't, you can pick one up on your way through. Also, if you want to buy chances on the game ball or the putter, you can do that if you haven't already done it. Okay, everybody enjoy your... Before we present the seniors' gifts, Mr. Flajnock, would you assist us, please? What we'd like to do is to get all the coaches and senior football players up front, and you can bring your chairs along. We wouldn't want you to miss this.
Watch it shut off.
Hey, Bobby, you ready to do tonight? Bye, guys! Let's go! Hey, ready to play? Hey, Katie, ready for the game tonight? I'm ready to go. Hey, Beckley, are you in a hurry? Get to the Corsic tonight. I gotta get in. The coaches want me in the whirlpool before the game. My back still bothers me. Well, I had an awesome dream. I just had an awesome dream. I don't know. You know that the Corsic means comment. Well, I'm not down enough to watch. I don't know what you're saying. Fired up! Let's get some! I play a special team. I'm out there running with lots of steam. She doesn't. My name is Sawyer, 87. When I catch that ball, I think I'm in heaven. Broke his finger and knocking another. Broke his toe, kicking my brother. Fix my name, fix my game. With these sticky fingers of mine, I'm walking lines. So beware, passing into my zone. All you'll get is long mouth bones. Davis, number 30. Brubaker, 50. Hey, don't go so far, Dave. Awesome, 73. Hilliard, 87. Sadler, number 78. Brinker, number 42. Gallagher, 79. Elliker, 84. Brown, number 75. Bale, number 76. Robinson, number 81. Miller, 41. Whitlock, 83. Lawrence, 80. Evelyn, 89. Cotter, 64. Funkhauser, 56. Robinstein, 88. Ricker, 77. Harbaugh, 61. Mackley, 25. Diamond, 24, captain. Mickley, 27, coach. Everybody take your hats off. Hats off. one. Three coordination and one for one. Brady, Fleming, and also Chuck. We don't care because we are tough. We're the Mustangs and that's enough. Now, for God's sake. Oh, my God. My name is Matt. I don't fool around. They come down my side, I just bowl them down. I may be small, but I can run because I'm a Mustang. I'm number 41. Everybody knows I don't mess around.
Number 76, Chris Bale. Number 73, Dave Bossom. Number 75, John Brown. Number 50, Rick Brubaker. Number 30, Preston Davis. Number 84, Steve Elliker. Number 89, Matt Evelyn. Number 56, Troy Funkhauser. Number 79, Eric Gallagher. Number 77, 77, Ted Griffith. Number 61, Rick Harbaugh.
Thank you. No pain, no pain.
Number 83, Ken Hartlove. Number 80, Gabe Lawrence. Number 25, Tony Mackley. Number 41, Matt Miller. Number 64, Travis Motter. Number 81, Chris Robinstein. Number 88, Scott Robinstein. Number 42, Brad Rinker. Number 78, Glenn Sadler. Number 87, Aaron Sawyer. Number 27, Chad Mickley.
Hold up.
And number 24, Joe Garner. And these are the senior football players that will be leading us this year.
Now, let's show our appreciation for the coaches who gave each of them a gift. Coach Brady. Coach Bonds. Coach Steinstrucker. And other coach, Bob. Now we'd like to introduce the cheerleaders. Trisha Bavard. Lori Burkentine. Jackie Ernst. Sheila Furman. Selena Hafer, Tiffany Kent, Amy Harbaugh, Amber Morningstar, Robin Myers, Chantel Shakola, Dawn Chang, Beth Stair, Katrina Thomas, and Tina Hawker. We'd also like to thank Ms. Z, Mo Benz Carter, and Janice Gardy. If they're here, please come up. Thanks anyway.
Again, I would just like to thank the organizing committee of this function. Of course, Linda Guyman and Shaw Smickley were our co-captain's parents, so they were the chief organizers. There was an organizing committee. Karen Sawyer is the treasurer. Ruth Bossum, Glenda Funkhauser, Elaine Watts, Bonnie Elliger, Beth Smickley, and myself. We all appreciate the help that you gave us. We appreciate the help that all the parents gave in any respect. I'd like to especially thank Barbara Griffith, who is, Barbara, will you stand up? I think you, they did see you in it. Creative person among us who had the idea for us to make this tape and compete with the Chicago Bears in the Super Bowl. So We didn't quite make it, but we had a great time. You helped us prove to these guys that their mothers will do anything for us, right? I'd also like to thank Dean Guyman, Tony Smeckley, and Mr. Brown. They're busy taking pictures now, but they were the ones who were out here with us for about 5 hours on a windy afternoon to try to put this thing together. Also, our cast of coaches, if you didn't recognize everyone, it was Mr. Meckley, Mr. Guyman, and Mr. Sawyer, and the head coach was Mr. Harbaugh. This is a very special part of the program. Our real main purpose for being here tonight to have Coach Seidenstricker speak to each of our senior players. Coach?
First of all, I want to sincerely thank all the senior parents, mothers and fathers, for the unbelievable, outstanding job that has been done for this evening's activities. I'm dumbfounded. If not certainly the best organized, certainly the most emotional end of the year covered dish social that we've ever had. I truly, sincerely thank you one and all. I'm kind of stuffed here for a minute, trying to get my thoughts together, really. It's very special. You've been a super group of people, and I can't thank you enough. I'd like to thank the staff, my football staff, and administration for all the support that they've given to myself and our program this year, especially to my own brother, who I dearly love, even though we fight a lot still. We've done that for all 32 years I've been on this earth, I guess. Coach Flemings, for the superior job that he did with our defense this year, and Coach Brady, who worked with me endless hours in trying to find an offense that by the end of the year began to improve and showed some real success. Guys, I sincerely thank all the help that you've given to us and to me. Secondly, I want to thank the 4 ladies that are sitting at that table, Mrs. Susan Flemings, Mrs. Sharon Brady, and my wife Jody, and Diane. It's not an easy job, but I'd like you to all just to think about something for a minute. What if, for 1/4 of every year, your spouse left every Friday evening, every Saturday, every Sunday, and that you probably didn't see them until 7 or 8 o'clock every evening during the week, and I mean for 14 solid weeks. And these 4 ladies do that, and it's a very thankless job. And it is a job. It is just as much a job as our job is. And I'd like to thank them publicly, and I'd like to give them a very special honor. Was that good enough, Mr. Fleming? Do you think I'll let us do it for another year? Okay. Moving on, I'd just like to review this season and what took place. And you can judge, if you will, on some of the things that we've accomplished. You might find it rather unique that you're sitting at a table where there's 3 balloons tied to a piece of coal buried in tin foil. And to the average person coming off the street walking in here, they might think, geez, they're really hard up for weights to hold these things down. But I want to tell you something that's very symbolic of something that we struggled to achieve. Last year, we graduated a very super group of seniors. Super in a lot of respects. Their ability to play the game, their determination, their courage, but their single greatest attribute was their unification and their leadership. And the leadership was the result of their unity. And it was something that we as a staff did not have to work on. It was something that was natural because those guys came to us as friends. They had developed friendships somewhere coming up through the ranks. When I looked at this year's group of seniors, my greatest concern was that we didn't lose that unification and that leadership that we had with that group. And I knew full well that that would not come as easily because our seniors this year really came from separate directions. By that I mean there was a small segment of friends here and a small segment of friends here, and an individual who was a friend with another group of friends here, and there just wasn't a great deal of unity. Their ability to play the game was not in question, but their ability to come together as one and fill the very big shoes of leadership that the graduating seniors would leave was a real concern of mine. And they came to us with some thought that isn't it neat that the colors that we wear represent something. And I thought to myself, that black represents coal, and that red represents fire, and that silver represents steel. You take the coal that fuels the fire, that forges the steel. It was obvious to me the symbolism of unity and the symbolism of strength. You combine those two things to develop the strongest of all elements, steel. And I was very glad and very happy when our seniors accepted that as their motto. And they used it as a foundation. And what evolved was a team that has become tighter in unity than any I've been around, tighter in friendship than any I've been around. It's not because I stand up here and say it, and you don't have to take my word for it. Look around the room. Look at the tape you just watched. That unity was like a disease. It spread. It spread into your families. It spread to the parents, the brothers, the sisters. It spread to every member of our team, be it sophomore, junior, or senior. It's obvious. Many times this year I've heard back from several of you, parents, mothers, especially. I can't believe the amount of fun that we've had this year. I wish that we would have started it so many years ago. It's a shame that it's only going to last this 1 year. And tonight here I've heard from a couple different parents that, we've had such a great time with this that even though our sons are graduating, and even though they won't be playing football for Southwestern, we're coming to all the games next year. We're going to follow the Mustangs. We've had such a great time with it. I tell you, you've got to give a lot of credit to a power that brings things together and that bonds in that respect. It just does not happen too often in our society today. It's been outstanding. To look at that season in review, it just seems to me like yesterday that we walked down on that field to play Littlestown in the beginning of September and walked away with a 7-7 tie after visiting Victory's Gate for a very short moment. I said to the newspapers after that game, the thing that I liked about this game was in every quarter we became a stronger team. And we finished stronger at the end of the game than we were when we started the game. But even that being the case, we still came away with a tie. What I didn't realize at that point in time, 11 weeks ago, is that not only was that indicative of the game, that game was indicative of the season we were to have. To struggle and to fight, but to never come away with better than 500, even up. The following week, we went up to play a very strong Redland team. A Redland team that lost only one game in their entire season. A Redland team that had only lost their opening game simply because they played under a coaching staff that was not their coaches. Their administration coached that team because their school district was on strike. They were coached by their principal and their assistant principal and their athletic director. And the coaching staff refused to let them any materials. They had nothing to work with in 2 days to prepare. They lost a football game. They beat us 6-3, and they never looked back. They won Mid-Penn Division II, and they came just short of qualifying for districts. But what happened in that game? We had the winning touchdown called back, again, for the second week in a row, inside the 1-yard line, to come away without a score, and the difference in the game. The third week was one of the highlights of our season, a come-from-behind win in Hanover, a very emotional win, a win that we dearly needed to keep our unity going, and a win that we dearly needed to keep our self-confidence up. It was at this point that we left our exhibition season and headed into the league season. Our record, 1-1-1. Again, very indicative of the season we would have. Always improving, always playing good football, but never quite getting over that edge. The following week, we played a much improved York Suburban team, and the lesson that we learned is you never rest on past laurels. And in Division I of York County, you can never judge a team by previous experience. Because we had won handily the year before against York Suburban, we assumed that the case would be the same again this year. And it was a struggle. And we were very fortunate to win the game in a fourth quarter drive that saw us go down the field with 7 unanswered plays and score the winning touchdown. The following week was to see our team face some of the most adverse conditions I've ever been associated with for a high school football team. Our young boys had to become young men that week because they had to face some very adult situations. We were subject to some very bad press. We were subject to the adult world passing judgment upon us. And that's a tough situation, folks, for teenage boys to be in. Ironically, as I hoped it would, it served to make us stronger. We grew up that week, and we matured. Your boys became men, and we became a stronger football team. And we beat a highly talented Dover team 24-6 in one of the most excellent games and complete games that I've ever had the good fortune to coach. Following week was just the opposite. I don't know what happened, and in retrospect, it's one of only 2 games that I do not have an answer for this season. Unfortunately, Spring Grove came in here having only won 1 football game and losing 4, and dealt us a severe blow. The following week against York Central, we played a game very similar to York Suburban. Unfortunately, this time, in the fourth quarter, it was the opposition who threw together the winning drive to beat us by 1 touchdown. At the end of the middle of our season, our record stood at 3-3-1, again at a 500 point. The next 2 weeks were 2 of the most fun weeks I've had coaching. Red Line in Dallastown. Truly, looking back, we would have to say that those 2 opponents were not great football teams. But on the other hand, as a 500 team, we couldn't consider ourselves real great either. And there's always question when you're playing teams from week to week. In this league, in this very tough league, you can't rest on somebody's record. We learned that when we played Spring Grove. Against Red Line in Dallastown, we exploded and outscored our opponents 62-6. We had a lot of fun in those 2 weeks, and we established a tradition that I hope will last a long time. Although we never made it public because ethically it would not be correct, I do want to make it public here because the gentlemen that were involved are a very special group of people. You see, every week we ask certain individuals to be scout defense and scout offense. And that means they're going to be asked to run the other team's formations and the other team's plays and the other team's defenses, knowing full well that they're probably not going to get in the game as starters or as regular players. It's a thankless job. It's a job that, for lack of a better word and to borrow a cliche, only serves to build character, but character it did. And we said during the week before the Red Line game, when our scout defense had done such a superior job in practice, in fact, our scout defense really handled our varsity offense and did a heck of a job, to the point where I was congratulating our scout defense, but I was so frustrated with our offense, I didn't know where to turn. But we got together and we were feeling positive by the end of the week, and as a coaching staff, we sat in the coach's office that Thursday night pregame and we said, wouldn't it be great if we could just have a big rout tomorrow night, just to win? And somebody said, you know what we ought to do, that scout defense has worked so hard, those guys deserve this. Wouldn't it be so great to get so far ahead that we could just put that scout defense in and play the other team's defense against themselves. And that's exactly what we did. And they stuffed red lines first string, not once but twice, recovering a fumble one time, forcing a fumble and recovering it, and then stopping them on downs the second series. And what a great feeling it was. Certainly something that you don't want to rub in somebody's face, but something that you feel good about for your own kids. And it was great, and it was fun, and we did the exact same thing the next week. Which brought us to York High. York High, in my estimation, was our finest hour. No one gave us a chance. The newspapers didn't give us a chance. Opposing teams and coaches didn't give us a chance. And ladies and gentlemen, for 3 quarters, we were better than the best. And to be on that sidelines when Aaron Sawyer caught that pass and Butch Sadler kicked that extra point, and to go ahead in York High, the first time that any team had done that in York County in 2 years, to score on their first defense, the first time that any team had done that in York County in 2 years. And for a brief, fleeting moment in time, that to me was one of the greatest memories that I will ever have being around the football team. And I want every player and every parent in this room to know that. And God, it was great. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be, and as I said, that greatness was fleeting, and as quick as it was ours, that's how quick it was gone. Last night is the other one that I don't have an answer for. Whether we lost our emotion against York High, or whether we chose to just rest on our laurels and say, the end is here. And what would it mean to win anyways? After all, what is important is what we've achieved. And we became a little teary-eyed and a little sentimental 48 minutes too soon. Be that as it may, we finish our season at 5-5-1. But are we a team of coal, fire, and steel? You better believe we are. And I am very proud to say that I was associated with the team of 1988. Gentlemen, I'd like you to stand, please, as I call your name. Chris Bale. Chris, one of my sincere wishes is that I had a videotape of you in 10th grade and a videotape of you now on the practice field. I would have to say one of the most improved players that I've had the good fortune to coach. And a very spirited member of that terrific scout defense. I thank you for your efforts and your times, Chris. You won't be forgotten. Thank you. David Boston. Dave, your hard work ethic is one of the best things about your character. You work as hard as any player on the practice field, and when you're there to practice, you're there to practice and nothing else. You've been in front of some of my harder times, and I want you to know that one of the other greatest things about your personality is your ability to keep things in perspective and keep your head when others about you lose theirs. Thank you for your time and your effort, David. John Brown. John, I have to give the credit to that great scout defense to you in a lot of ways. For your spirit, for your dedication, for your never die attitude. Your ability to put things also into perspective as Dave, and your ability to communicate with the coaches and let your feelings be known. To do that in pressure situations and in tough situations is the ability to become an adult. Thank you very much, John, for your time and your efforts. We appreciate it. Rick Brubaker. Rick, it's not tough to snap the football and face people that are normally a heck of a lot bigger than you. And as I look back on this season, as I think back about Rick Brubaker, I will always remember that night down at Red Lion when you faced those big boys and you did a miraculous job. And as we walked off the field, one of my relatives said to me, "Who is number 50? And I said, "Well, that's Rick Brubaker." And he said, "You know, that guy could play on my team anytime." I said, "You better believe it." Thanks, Rick. Preston Davis. And Preston, one of the great things that I will remember from you is the fact that on a 7th and 8th grade sideline one time, when our undefeated season was in jeopardy, and you were about as tall as you are now. You need something to break this up. Preston, you looked up to me, and Doylestown had just scored to tie the game. You reached up and you put your hand on my shoulder and you said, "Coach, don't worry. We got the ball back," and you went in, and out of the I formation we ran a 37 sweep, and you went 80 yards for a touchdown, and we won the football game. It's that attitude that has made you a great football player and a great young dog. Thank you, Preston. Steve Gallagher. You know, Steve, we had to stand in the hallway last year and have a little discussion on whether you were going to play the game of football or not. And at that time I said, "You know, Steve, you're old enough to make up your own mind. And the decision you made to play, I can assure you, was a great one. And I think that you know the decision you made was a correct one. Those decisions aren't always tough, but you made the correct one in a very precious situation. And it's this attitude that will carry you a long way in life. Steve, I can't tell you what a leader you've been on the field as an example. And we really appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Matt Ewan. Matt, it's really tough as a senior to decide to play football for the first time in a program. And that is no easy task. And it's my experience that the vast majority of those that choose to do so in that situation do not last the season. Knowing full well that your chances to play a lot of varsity ball would be limited, you did not let that bother you. You put forth a maximum effort every day, and you were a great member of our scout defense. And by being there by the end of the year, you were a pretty fair linebacker, man. But more importantly, you are a truly great person. Thanks a lot. Troy Funkhauser. Tell you what, Troy, just when we thought we had you start football games last year, you go and destroy that knee. You got an injured knee, the second game you had a chance to start. And you had to go to the hospital, and the very next morning you had to be operated on. And there was ligaments repaired, and I remember you spent a week in the hospital, a couple of days. I'll tell you what, Troy, a lot of people would say at that point, "Why is a game worth all this?" I'll tell you something, Slim. Marlboro man. The job you did was an outstanding one. The courage you showed was superior. And it's been our privilege to coach you. Thank you. Eric Gallagher. Eric, if anyone ever deserves an award for taking my abuse, it's you. I mean that sincerely. Eric, as I remember you, and when I see you on the street sometime 5-10 years from now, I'm going to say to you, "Do you remember that Doylestown game?" And you're going to say, "Yes, I do." Because, Eric, for that Doylestown game, you played one of the finest games of defensive football I've been my good fortune to watch. And I was really proud of you. And it was indicative of the football player you have become by the end of the season. Thank you for your time and your efforts. Joe Gunn. Joe, it's really tough to be a captain of a football team because there's a lot of pressure on you. And it's one thing to be elected captain, it's another thing to be selected by your coaches as a captain, because always there's a little bit of jealousy that goes with that you have to fight. And you know that as well as I do. You handled your job outstandingly. Your leadership was above question, and your playing ability was above question. As the only two-year starter, you did an outstanding and superb job at your linebacker position and fullback position, and you will always be remembered for the way you played the game and the way you led on the field. Thank you. Ted Griffiths. I knew when you came here in 9th grade and I found out you were from East Stroudsburg, it couldn't be all bad, being that I had just spent 4 years there not too very long ago. Ted, I really had some questions last year on whether you would be able to be a varsity football player for us. Not because of your abilities on the field, but of some things that you had to straighten out other than that. That's not easy as a young person, because it always means that you have to sacrifice something, which you did. Ted, you became a great defensive tackle for us. My only regret is that you did not have your whole season to play. But in a situation where a lot of lesser men would have given up all hope, you responded, you rebounded, and you did the job you had to do. That's a great deal of character. Thanks, Ted. Rick Harbaugh. Well, Rick, we'll never tell you again to move your plant foot back a little bit, shift your shoulders to the right, shift your shoulders to the left, keep your head down, keep your shoulders down, keep your plant foot down, all those good things. But you know, Rick, all that coaching made you an all-conference punter, first string. And I'm very proud that you've done that. It also gained you recognition as a second-team all-conference Cardinal. Your work on the field this year has been exemplary because you came into this season with a changed attitude. You came into this season with an attitude that you would become a good football player and that you would become a good punter. And as a result of that attitude, you did, which should indicate to you that you can do a lot of things if you put your mind to it. You do have the power. Thanks, Rick. Ken Harbaugh. Kenny, it took a lot of courage, an awful lot of courage after a game or two into the season when you realized that you probably wouldn't be playing a lot of football to come into my office and we sat down and we talked about a couple things. And the realization that you showed that day and the questions that you asked me and the things that we talked about showed a great deal of maturity on your part. In a situation where a lot of people would have said, to heck with this, I think I'll leave, I don't need this, you hung in there and you became a very good football player on our special teams and also on that Super Scout defense. Thanks a lot for your efforts, Kenny. I really appreciate it. Gabe Lawrence. Gabe, several times this season, we've said that you became the silent leader on the field by your ability to play the game. It's amazing, and I want you to know this in public, the amount of coaches that said to me, you know, Coach, when we scouted you, we felt that your weak side was number 80. That skinny defensive end you have over there, we really thought that was your weak side. You said, you know, Coach, we can't run that way. I said, you better believe it, baby. Just think if he was 210 pounds, what a defensive end used to be. That's all heart. That's all attitude. That's all desire, Gabe. You're a heck of a football player, a heck of a leader. I really am proud to have coached you. Thank you. Tony Meckley. Tony, as a 10th grader, I didn't know if you ever played a day of varsity football. But you're going to go on and play in the York County All-Star game in a couple weeks' time. You've gained yourself some recognition and some respect from opposing coaches. You've gained yourself a great deal of respect from your own coaches. You're a hard worker. You worked through some injuries. You never gave up. And you became as tough a football player as I want to coach. Thanks, Tim. Chad Nickley. Chad, there was a time when we didn't know if your voice would ever change. From down. It still hasn't. But Chad, I'm going to tell you something. Like Creston, one of my fondest memories of you comes from 8th grade. And it was the last day of our 8th grade season when we were practicing, last practice. When it's always been our tradition to line 8th graders up to lead stretchers, and there's always 10 or 15 of you out there. And as we were going down and calling out our exercises, and we got to you, and before you called out your exercise that day, you said to 87th and 8th graders, you said, thank you guys, it's been a pleasure working with you this year. I'll never forget that as long as I live. But I'm going to tell you something, Chad, that exemplified the type of player you are. You genuinely love everybody you're around and genuinely love the game. And when they said, give 100% all the time, they were referring to you. Thanks, Chad. Matt Miller. Matt, we had a tough time on occasion. And we had to sit down and have a very serious discussion last year when we told you we were going to switch positions. And the reason we switched positions was because we felt that packed in that very small frame was a kid with a lot of heart and really wanted to play the game. And was just a little too small to play the position he was at. And as a result, we asked you to make a position change, which you did, unquestionably, which a lot of kids would not do. And you worked at it, and you became a good monster for us. You played some great games for us. And if talent is ever measured by heart, you're over that 100% mark, Matt. Thanks a lot. Travis Monner. Travis, I remember you calling my house one evening when we were, one summer evening, when you were getting ready to go in 11th grade and said, Coach, can I still come out for football? And I've never been known to refuse anybody the right to come out for football or the privilege to come out for football. And Travis, I'm really glad you did. But one thing I want you to know is, and I told you this last night, but I need it to be said here, you were just that step away from becoming a starting linebacker. And in certain situations this year, that would have caused people that were on that fence or on that borderline to really just withdraw within themselves and give it up. You didn't. You never, ever did. And as a result, you hold a special place in our heart, and you're a great player on that scout team. Thanks a lot, Travis. Chris Robinstein. Chris, I remember you coming up to my house in the mornings last summer and riding in with me before you had your braces. Remember that? I never even knew if you were there. The dog would start barking, and I knew Chris was sitting outside because it was time to go to practice. You kept me on time sometimes. Chris, the great thing about you is on that scout defense, and every moment of practice, you were always thinking and always wanted to know what the game plan was and figure things out. And I'll tell you what, your desire to learn and your desire to achieve are two of your greatest attributes. And they will carry you far, I know it. Thank you for your efforts, Chris. I really appreciate it. Scott Robinson. Scott, like not even a first-year senior player, it's not an easy task at all. You did a super job for us, Scott, on kickoff teams, special teams, and also on that scout defense. I hope that your experience with football is a good one, and I hope that you carry some things with you into life and some things that you learned. Because regardless of the amount of time you played, you left an impact on us. And we thank you, Scott. Brad Rickard. Brad, we sat down in 10th grade and we talked about whether football was right for everybody. And as you remember, I said, you know, football's not for everybody. And you have to make some real tough decisions. And you made a real tough decision in your 10th grade year. And we sat down and we had pretty much the same discussion 3 weeks ago on whether football's for everybody in certain circumstances and whether you really want to stick with it, and if you really want it, is it that important to you to take the risk to come back. And to say that you broke a leg in the beginning of the season and came back to play your last couple ball games is just unbelievable to me. It shows your dedication, it shows your leadership, it exemplifies the unity, and I'm really proud to say that I've coached you. Thanks, Brad. Butch Sadler, which I can't think of a tougher way to end your senior season. Glenn R. Butch Sadler III. I'll never forget 7th grade, that form, Glenn R. Butch Sadler III. The whole man, I said, well, I gotta know this guy. Glenn R. Butch Sadler III. You had a tough time to end your senior season. And knowing full well you were very sick. And having to sit at home this last week before the Delone game was not easy. The fact that you were even with us last night is miraculous. The fact that you're here this evening exemplifies the steel of this team. Thank you. Aaron Sawyer. Aaron, it just seems like yesterday. I thought I'd walk down here before the Willistown game. It was about 1 in the afternoon on that Saturday. Because I just couldn't sit at home anymore. I didn't feel like mowing the lawn. And I thought I'd come in here, and when I got here to the gate, there you stood. I said, what are you doing, Aaron? I said, I don't know, I just thought I'd come in here and see what's going on. And he said to me, what are you doing, Coach? I said, I don't know, I just thought I'd come in here and see what's going on. Without saying it, we both knew the reason we were there, because the game meant a great deal to us, that we were nervous, that we were excited about the upcoming season. I'll always remember that moment, Aaron. You went on to have an outstanding senior year, an outstanding career. You just play super football and display outstanding leadership. Thank you for your time and your efforts, Aaron, and we're going to miss you, as we're going to miss every one of you guys. In conclusion, I say to the 10th graders that are in this room, you're no longer Raiders. You now become Bull Mustangs. If you still want to wear the black jersey, that's okay, guys. In fact, the way most of those look, you can keep them. 11th graders in this room, I say to you, you have a real tough challenge. As I said to this group of seniors before you last year, the challenge to them to fill the very big shoes of last year's seniors and to become the great leaders that they were and display the great team unity that they did. Fellas, I want to tell you something. They did it, and they went above and beyond. If you do it and go above and beyond, we're going to have everything we have this season and maybe more. Although I don't know that winning a whole lot more games could be a whole lot more rewarding than what this season's been. You know, today I had a good fortune to go watch a football game and not have to worry about writing plays down or trying to decide how we were going to stop the team or how we were going to move the ball against the team. Instead, I could just sit there and watch them play at Gettysburg College and Franklin and Marshall. It was a great football game. It's a great football game. Gettysburg went ahead 6-0. Franklin Marshall came back, kicked the extra point, went ahead 7-6. Then Franklin Marshall jumped out 14-6. Then Gettysburg scored in the fourth quarter to make it 14-12, 1 for 2, and missed. But on the next series, Franklin Marshall threw an interception. Gettysburg guy kicked a field goal with a minute and a half left, and they went ahead 15-14. Franklin Marshall took the ball, and with a minute and a half left, they took the ball on their own 17-yard line, and 4 plays were inside of Gettysburg's 10. And with 56 seconds left to go in the game, a tailback from Franklin and Marshall scored the game-winning touchdown. Andy Stouffer, a Southwestern Mustang. You know, I say to you guys, wins and losses in high school are one thing. But when you look at the Stouffers of the world, the Jay Egloffs of the world, the Steve Latios of the world, the Paul Novaks of this world, the DJ Harts and the John Siglers, Chaz Veronics, all those Mustangs that are playing college football, and all the Mustangs that aren't playing college football but are doing great things with their lives. The Mustang tradition lives on. This just ends another chapter. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to be your coach.
Tonight, the coaches have already received a gift from all the families here tonight. We've also got a special gift for them from all the players. We've gotten them plaques entitled "What It Takes to Be Number One" by Vince Lombardi. Now, on each one of them, we've got a special inscription for them. And I kind of like to do the same thing for the coaches as they just did for the senior players. I'd like to call them forward and have a couple words to say about each. I'd like to start off with Coach Chuck Seidenstricker. Coach, some of the things that we'll remember about you are how excited you always got and the great encouragement that you always gave us in both personal instruction. And especially for the linemen, I'm sure especially this, the non-linemen, running backs,
I'll never forget the power of your voice. It's amazing when we're standing about 50 yards away from him, how it sounds like he's standing right next to you when he's yelling at the line. It's just incredible. Many times when I know a lot of running backs, I'm very happy that we're not linemen. Thank you very much for the college you taught us. Coach Tom Brady. Some of the things that we will remember at you, especially the running backs, are the drills that you made up for us. And I tell you, these drills were amazing. I mean, they helped us a great deal, but they're really amazing. We always kind of wondered, where he thought these things up. We kind of figured out, well, he must dream them up in his sleep because they're really something else. But I tell you, they do teach you how to run. And you're very good. Coach, I'd also like to thank you for all you taught us. Coach Bob Clemens. Coach, I sure hope you can find somebody to pick on next year since I'm going to be gone. But I did enjoy it. It was a lot of fun. One of the memories that I'm sure everybody will have is the tape room. Being the head coach for taping, I know I sure was down there the last 2 years almost every day getting something taped in there. Well, there's my ankle, my knee, my leg, my groin, anything.
Brad, take it out of the stand and do that.
But the biggest thing that we'll remember is your superb defensive instruction. I know that a lot of us feel very privileged to work with you as a defensive coach. I've learned a great deal, and we've all had a great deal of fun playing with you. Thank you very much. Coach Don Seidenstricker. Since 7th grade, we've had you as our head coach for 5 years, and there are two things that will stand out, at least in my mind, and I know a lot of ours. One of them was a very hot September day in 8th grade, and the juniors and seniors will both remember this. That glorious day when we did 100 up-downs. I will never, ever forget that day. It really was a lot of fun. That was one of the times, like you said, whether the game was cut out for me or not. I think the thing that we'll remember most were your pregame talks. I've never been more excited any time in my life than I have been before a football game. You really have got a great ability to motivate us and to excite us. Thank you, Coach, for everything. I hope that as the seniors depart tonight, coaches, that we can not only consider you as a coach, but as also friends. For you have taught us many things, and we have hopefully learned them well. Thank you for everything, good luck, and we shall never forget any of you.
They make a very tough act to follow, don't they? Thank you, guys. That was all their own doing. Terrific. Mrs. Brubaker just said that most of the guys have not opened their gifts. You're certainly free to do that. The coaches also. Some of the parents don't know what you have. The gifts that the parents gave you also. know everybody. As we were preparing this evening, the meeting that we had with all the parents, I asked if anybody in this group had any special thoughts, any special sayings, anything they would like to share with the rest of us. This is a very emotional time as parents. It's tough to see a senior season end, but it's a thrill to be able to be a part of it. And we thank you guys for allowing us to be so much a part of it. One of the fathers, Mr. Ryder, gave me something that I thought was fitting for any situation, but it makes us all think a little bit. 100 years from now, it will not matter what my bank account was, the sort of house I lived in, or the kind of car I drove. But the world may be different because I was important in the life of a boy. We will always think of you guys as our little boys. I know that you don't always appreciate that, but you always will be. As your parents, we're very, very proud of the young gentleman that you have become. And as I said, we have enjoyed sharing each and every phase of your life with you. We wish you all good luck, and certainly will be following you and supporting you in whatever you do. I'd like to close with something that I heard for the first time at the football social 2 years ago. In 1987, mothers came up with this. It originally appeared in a newspaper in the Pittsburgh area and was subsequently put in a football program in that area. And it's entitled, Mom Faces Football Withdrawal. And as it refers to a lady who has obviously supported 3 sons through football. But as I read through it, it isn't really just for moms, it's for parents. Anybody who has followed a young man through a football career can relate to this. I'm not sure I can talk after I get through this. If I do, I've read it 100 times and haven't made it through yet. For the tears, I apologize in advance, perhaps. Tonight, my youngest son, Brian, 17, will run onto the Kincaid High School football field for the last time. I dread seeing the stadium lights dim. Knowing I'm not alone doesn't really help. The night before a game, I spoiled him rotten. Can I order a pizza for you, honey? Can I find your shoes? Can I help with your homework? I've watched Brian and his brothers Bruce, 22, and Bryce, 19, at countless games. I remember the applause for their achievements, and when good wasn't quite good enough. Sometimes Brian assessed himself harshly, but when his coaches were harsher still, I had to restrain myself from becoming violently ill. I was baffled whenever he was sidelined, partisan when he was in a game. I suffered when he got hit or hurt, and survived his pulled muscles, bruises, and broken arm, all of which he insisted didn't hurt. I laundered endless dirty uniforms, took hundreds of pictures, served tons of pre-game dinners, but after tonight, I won't hold any after-game parties or watch Brian and his friends hang out at our house. Next fall, he may move to a faraway college dorm room. He might not be playing football, but I can still see him at age 5, dressed in his Pittsburgh Steelers uniform on Halloween. Thanks very much, and thanks for coming. Good night.
Number 50. Now wait a minute, I lost it out. Hey, I'm a big part of the Mustang crew. crew. I'm a big part of the Mustang crew. I snap the ball when I hear the call. We run for a touchdown, that's all. Red! Stand! Up one! Hut two! Hut! Hut! My name is Kristen. I'm 90 Thompson. My name is Kristen. I'm mean and tough. And for the other team, I make it pretty rough. I'm the best safety you've ever seen. And I'm a part of the great defense machine. You get her, boys? Number one, 2, 3, 4 coaches and one star bus. Brady, Fleming, and also tough. We don't care because we are tough. We're the Mustangs, and that's enough. My name is Matt. I play it cool. They can't sneak by me because I'm no fool. I can fly on the field and get on down. And they can't sneak by me because I can run a touchdown. They're all wrinkled. It's only one little ball. Look at it. Straighten them out. Look at Chris out there. My name's Penny. I'm Deja Blaney. What? No, wait a minute. Okay. The name is Sadler Glenn, you see. They count on me for the PAT. To kick them high, to kick them low. The crowd holds their breath as you watch it go. That's it. Knock it off. Thank you. The name is Sadler Glenn, you see. They count on me for the PAT. To kick them high, to kick them low. The crowd holds their breath as they watch it go. Got it. Ah!
Hey, Bonnie.
Carried away.
Think I'll back up a little bit. Get the wrong person here.
Huh? Are we going to get the booster? You can have a full go.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You do with your tail.
Well, they'll know who you are anyway.
Somebody come on and get it out from under. Got it? No! 1, 2, 3. You want to do 1, 2, 3? Let Andrew go first. Look at Chris out there. My name's Tony. I'm Deja Blaney. Cut! No, wait a minute. You ready? Yeah. Now you look like a monkey man. I just think you know. Now, fastball! That's the thing, come on! Hurry up before that rain gets here. I gotta come on, hurry up! Come on. Walk.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
My name's Tony. I'm Tony Devoney. I'm number 25, and I can really drive. My game is defense, as you see. You better watch out. You don't mess with me.
Jamie Brad, number 42. I broke my leg doing my job for you. I worked really hard so I could come back. Now I'm part of that Mustang attack.
I'm Nick, and I'm pretty quick. I can fly, and that's no lie. Get the ball, you see it all, and hear the sound. Touchdown.
We did it. Really good.
Yeah, you know good. See, you didn't use your hand at all. Yeah, you got it.
That's just hanging on the line. You're in the right spot. The ladder broke shut. You have to jump.
I'd stay here forever. Get me down first. I could shimmy down.
Yeah, let me down first.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know how to get down on that side. Put it over here.
What?
Put it ladder over here. I don't want that to hold loser. Come up this way!
Well, we got to tackle so I can do a football.
I did that all.
I just walked in there and I saw him.
But it won't be any music.
Got that thing blanket.
Where's that? Hey,
Barb?
Barb,
Barb.
play the music.
I think that's the best song of mine. That one sounded okay. Turn over on your belly. Wait, let's go, Nestle, get off of that song.
This is being taped, you know.
What the hell? We won't. Yeah, Ben, hey, hang down with your hands in the back. Just hang down with your hands. Oh, yeah. No, it's not that far. Hey, everybody be quiet. I gotta get mine again. Wait a minute.
Who has to do hers again?
Me.
You're down there. What did you wrong?
I think I forgot a line.
My nose is
Be
dripping.
quiet. Tell me when to come in, Barb. Okay. I'm Nick, and I'm pretty quick. I can fly, and that's no lie. I'll get the ball, you'll see it all, then you hear the sound, touchdown.
Just hold the ladder one.
Come over here and get me a your butt over.
Hold the ladder.
Just turn yourself around. Where's the other way? Let go. I can't. Get on there, that's up.
How about it?
Give me the finger with that hand.
What about if someone get up there?
Give me the finger with the right hand. You better catch you. And then swing yourself around, Beth. Rattle the sucker, then swing around onto it.
Oh, my God.
I push her off.
No! I told you. Push her off.
Wait
If you look at the poor shot, just waiting for the ladder to come on.
Get shot down.
So easy going on.
Before you got up there, Paul. Think I feel what, sis? Hell, Tony shall knock you down and break your neck.
Oh, my God, look at this. Somebody's getting this on film. We are.
Yeah, we got it.
It's gonna rain any minute. Let's go. The other side. Let's go with your right hand. If you put your leg over and straddle right onto it, that's the other way. Tip her
my rack yet.
No, Larry,
That's
Larry,
it. Okay,
Larry,
here
Larry.
we go. There you go. Put it up down.
My pants are so wet.
Are we going to have this over here?
Chuck will show you how to do it. Chuck, he's going to show you how. I'll tell you. What's the ball? Easy to scary, isn't it, Chuck? Good job! Yeah!
Forward.
You turn around and you come down the other way.
In the Navy, that's the way you go.